with that down and out of the way, Chris, what is our fourth main topic today?
Fourth topic is coming from Patreon supporter Ben Rayner.
Thanks for being a Patreon supporter, Ben.
Hi, John. I'm really excited so much for Joker. I love that it's a standalone movie. I know people who won't see it because Batman isn't in it. My question, what can I say to that? So he's not in it. What would you say? Curious about your thoughts. Thank you. Have a good day. Hashtag bring the filthy. And Rob, do you think you can do a Joker movie without Batman?
Yeah, and they're doing it. It's being made. I mean, it's so. I'm sure Batman is referenced. I mean, look, this is like people have said. I'm curious as to, I guess, because the way I think, we don't know. The Joker was always fully formed in the comics, and then they would go back and try and fill in his backstory. This is a story about how any one of us can become a Joker. This is a metaphoric story about our society today. And that's what great superhero stories and great supervillain stories do. And I'm deliriously excited to see this movie. I mean, it seems to be A-list and prestige project all the way. That's what I've always wanted from comic book movies. This is exactly what I would hope comic book movies would evolve into. We saw it kind of to a certain extent with Logan, the approach, very adult-oriented approach. This film it's giving us a real-world look at how could a character like the Joker actually exist, using our world to do so. I find that incredibly fascinating and compelling. And you know what? If this was released as a DC Elseworlds comic in the 80s, everybody would be salivating to get this. And I don't understand why there's any downside at all. Like, there's none.
Yeah, I agree. See, here, the question is being thrown around a lot lately about, where do they go? How do you do a Joker without Batman? And that's been around since they first suggested the movie, but I'm finding that these questions are reemerging now. They're coming back even stronger than before. People are asking, this can't possibly work. Like, with all this great stuff coming out about the Joker movie, you're getting this counterbalance coming out with a lot of people saying you can't do it without Batman. It's not going to work without Batman. It's just not going to work without Batman. You know where I've heard that before? We just talked about it. Venom. We just heard that with Venom. We heard all the boo birds coming out about Venom. Venom, you can never possibly work without Spider-Man. No one will care about Venom without Spider-Man. You can't do it. Venom makes no sense without Spider-Man. You can't do it. Nobody will have any interest in it, blah, blah. And the movie, even I, who said the movie was still going to be successful, even I said, well, it's not going to make $800 million. It made $800 million. Made over $800 million. It can work. And guess what? Joker's a more iconic character than Venom is. Everybody knows Joker. You can ask a lot of people who've never read a comic book in their life, do you know who Venom is? They'll go, no. You can ask a hell of a lot of people who've never read a comic book in their life, you know who the Joker is? What are you, an idiot? Of course I know who the Joker is. Everybody knows who the Joker is. You put on top of that one of the most celebrated performers of our generation in Joaquin Phoenix. You have the fact that they're releasing it when they're releasing it. Look, I'm not saying that the Joker movie is going to be $1 billion film. Not in the least. I'm not suggesting that at all. I don't think Joker's going to be $1 billion film at all. But this is going to be a hit. This is going to be a big step for them. And Rob, you've used this phrase before. It's going to be a prestige play for them as well. This is going to be, like Logan, a prestige comic book character movie. That's going to be done differently than any other one that we've ever seen before, much like Logan was. So, and look, and if this movie fails, and I don't think it will, it won't be because Batman wasn't there. Now, I love Batman. He's my all-time favorite comic book character, other than Magneto. But he's like one of my favorites. I love him. It would be great. But if this movie fails, and it won't have anything to do with Batman. And when it succeeds, it'll succeed knowing that it didn't need Batman to do it. So I really don't think there's any problem here at all.
John, also a thing that I think as a fan of genre cinema, this is not a movie that's costing the studio $150 million to make. Exactly. This is not an effects-heavy film. This is a character-based movie. And if this becomes a viable way of making superhero films, I think we're going to be able to see a lot more superhero movies treated in this way, or supervillains, which makes it, we're going to get different kinds of movies. We're going to get a different, filmmakers are going to be more attracted to looking at this material. I think the stigma, if there is any stigma, people going, ugh, it's just a superhero movie is going to go away, because it's also just ultimately going to give us a much more diverse way to look at characters like this, and that's exciting for me as a film goer.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, you mentioned the stigma of it. It used to be years ago that there was a stigma that's like, comic book movie can't be any good. But even today, there's a new stigma, even from the people who watch these comic book movies, which is the comic book movies are a certain thing. It's smash, pow, bang, bum, bang. And we are learning now that even we as comic book movie fans need to break our stigma of it. When we get movies like Logan that come out, when we're getting things like Joker to come out, we're now seeing an industry that's trying to break beyond even the barriers and boundaries that the fandom have for it. And I think that's exciting at this. Chris, let me ask you this. You know, Batman is arguably the most popular comic book character in the world. And of course, a desire to see him there, that's understandable for sure. Can this Joker movie be a success with the audience, financially, critically, all that kind of stuff, if you don't have the most popular comic book character of all time in there with him?
I absolutely think so. And my reasoning for this is, you guys remember the animated Batman series. That
Right.
is just a wonderful, wonderful cartoon, right? Everyone agrees that that is a well-done Batman series. One of the reasons that series works so well is because typically our villains, our rogues gallery, are put in the position of being the protagonist of that episode. They're the ones moving everything along. They're the ones we're watching and studying. And then Batman just happens to come in, being the antagonist of that episode, to disrupt what's going on, to disrupt their plans.
That's a great point.
That worked so well. Here, what Rob said, we're getting a character study. And we've talked so much on the show already before, too, about comic book fatigue and superhero fatigue. If we want the quality over the quantity, we have to do movies like this. We have to do these kinds of in-depth explorations. That's why huge comic book writers, too, like Alan Moore, wanted to know about the Joker's backstory. They want to flesh out these things. They want to delve into these crazy, crazy characters who have so much going on with them. So you can absolutely do this. And if Batman shows up, he shows up. Joker was around much longer before he was canonically in the comics. So
Yeah, so we're going to get a child Bruce Wayne in this. So I think Bruce's father is going to be one of the main characters. We have the young child Bruce Wayne, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm in agreement. The question is, guys, what do you think about this? Yeah, a lot of people are excited about the Joker movie, but even some people who are excited about it question whether or not it can actually be viable without a Batman character in there. What do you say about that? Jump down in the comment section below and let us know what you think.